Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are happy that you are listening to our show. We're thrilled to death, even. Yes, we got a really great one because one of the types of people we love talking to the most are the ones who are true enthusiasts, showing their colors by supporting the show. And in this case, we have Grand Poohbah. What's your name, Grand Poohbah?
This is Enrico Fernando from New Jersey, proud supporter of the Guitar Knobs, and as you said, Grand Poohbah.
Yes, very exciting. We're going to find out what makes him tick. What is his guitar story? And you might say, like, why? What's all the hubbub? Well, here's the thing. If you're enthusiastic enough to listen to all the shows and support the shows, chances are you've probably got a pretty good story and you've probably got a fair amount of gear, and we want to hear about that. And it's the right thing to do, doggone it. So we're happy to have him on, and we have to say before we do anything that we officially, truly thank you for your support of our show. We could not do it without everyone just like yourself, Enrico.
And likewise, thank you to you guys. I won't stop saying it. Thank you for, doing your show. I think I speak for a lot of your fans that, what you do definitely brings a lot of guitar joy. Every week, it's something we look forward to every week. So just the fact that you do what you do consistently, that's the key. What episode number is this?
This will be 377.
377, wow.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to do that, for years and years consistently, I mean, that's an accomplishment. And you guys should be definitely super proud.
Thank you. We are. We love it. And it blows my mind every time I put a new number up there. I kid you not. I got to pinch myself every time I'm, putting one out there, publishing one. That's the word I was looking for. And it is a great joy in mine and Tony's and all the other chapos that jump in here life. So thank you. All right. We've got a couple of announcements as per usual. Tony, wait a minute. Why don't you tell the people that maybe we might have a lot of new listeners right now?
That's possible.
Give just a rundown of what we do on the show.
Well, Todd, we love to talk about gear, specifically boutique gear. Well, we talk to the people that make this stuff.
Yeah.
These are the boutique builders. That's things like pedals and guitars and amps and accessories, all of the good stuff. And
influencers.
Yeah, we've had influencers and authors.
Major world-renowned musicians.
Yes.
Authors.
Yeah.
And we do 101s.
Yes, that's where you learn.
We try to at least give some kind of, view into what the particular subject is.
Yeah.
The best we can.
Yeah, like we've done the Rickenbacker one.
We've done a lot of them.
We've done the Marshall
one. Are you going to count them all right now?
I'm just going in my head, and that's very difficult.
Yeah, I think you reached the other side of the wall already.
Oh, what?
And I will say right now, we are about to launch a new type of episode, which I'm very, very excited about.
Oh, yes.
And the cool thing is that we said, how many of these can we do? And we're still counting.
So are these going to be sub-episodes?
I cannot say. No, they're full episodes, but I cannot say any more than that.
Okay, come on. Give us a little clue. Just a little hint.
No.
Come on.
It might have something to do with 4 on the floor.
4 on the floor. I wonder what that could be.
That's all I can say.
Okay. I won't push you.
Yes.
Jeez.
Okay, so very, very excited for that. I don't know if I can state that enough. Anyways. Also, on top of that amazing introduction, we have a couple of announcements. We will, by the time you hear this, we will have given away this lovely OCE pedal called the Wrench V2.
That's right.
Yes, the Wrench Fuzz. And this will have gone to Paul von Eppinger. Hey, Paul von Eppinger. Yes. Very, very excited to send that off to somebody who deserves to win some, doggone it.
Yes.
And I have a bunch after this, and I'm just going to trickle them all out.
Nice.
Gotta keep the fire stoked.
We love the giveaways.
You put too much wood on the fire, and it turns into something you can't be around.
Yeah.
Yes. I think, was that a uranium?
That was Morse code.
Okay.
I was Morse coding Paul von Eppinger.
I see. Yes. So congratulations, Paul, for that. We will have put up something on Instagram by the time that people hear this. Also, I want to point out, if you haven't already, go and listen to the Gibson stories. They're really, really good. I've watched, I think, almost all of them. They're done very, very well. And this last one is on Paul Stanley. And as a kid from the 70s and 80s, Kiss was huge. And Tony just brought me a Gene Simmons bottle opener, which is really neat.
Cast iron.
A cast iron wall-mounted one. It's the thing you could knock out a burglar with this thing.
I think you could.
Yeah. Anyways, it's really cool to get all the behind the stories of the guitars and everything. So definitely go check that out. And also, I wanted to share a little something here. We get all the messages from everybody that are signing up as new people and stuff. And in this case, we had two that I wanted to bring up, but not today. One today. If you don't mind, Enrico, you mind if I read a little something real quick?
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Thank
As
you.
long as
appreciate
it's not
that.
your poetry.
It's not. This is from Brett Quattrucci of Plutone.
Plutone.
Yes, we'll uncover what that is. All right. I didn't ask for permission if I could read this, so I'm just going to read it. All right. It says, howdy, Todd and fellow knobs. Longtime fan here and long overdue patron supporter. I've probably listened to over half of your episodes and just wanted to say thank you so much for sharing the magic of the boutique industry. I have to say that you guys, Tony, Todd, and Jared, really make the show what it is. I truly admire your friendship, and it's your dynamic that sets you apart from any other podcast. Wow.
I got tears in my eyes.
I believe it. That means a lot. Just last week, I was listening to an episode where Jared was sighing and huffing and puffing, trying to spit out the would you rather, and it was just the funniest thing I've heard on a podcast. We agree. That's why we miss him when it's not here. Not the only reason. It was over 2 years ago now that you all inspired me to start an online guitar shop where I support a small but growing number of artists and makers of picks, pedals, hardware, and guitars, including Rebirth Guitars, who you had on the show. Lance is a great guy, and we've become good friends over the past couple of years. Lance owns Rebirth. As a matter of fact, we're meeting up tomorrow to hang out for a bit. But I digress. Okay, back to it. My shop, Plutone, is a bootstrapped startup and still quite small, but I have big dreams to someday offer gear from every maker you've had on the show. It's finally grown to the point where I have a bit of cash to repay you for the inspiration and motivation you have provided me to keep chugging along. I'll find a way to call it a tax write-off, LOL.
It is.
I also started an Instagram page, fret me not, fret _me _not, NOUGHT, where I share boutique guitars that experience also taught me that there are quite a few other knobs out there who share our passion for artisan-made gear. Like you, Todd, my experience has been primarily in the world of marketing. And although I am very much a creator myself who is always tinkering with pedals and guitars, I feel as though I can be most useful in connecting makers and players. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Like to kind of have that realization to zero in on that. I like it. Therefore, I've committed myself to the terrifying but exciting world of e-commerce. With the guitar market valued at around $11 billion, I believe there is a ton of potential from boutique makers to take the market share from the brands that are currently dominating. And so I've joined your mission to do what I can to spread the word about their amazing talents and creations. Anyway, I know from experience that we guitarists love to spill our life stories and entire journeys with our instrument. So I wanted to spare you from spending too much of your too much of your day reading about mine. I know that, like myself, you are all quite busy juggling your day jobs and your passions, and I deeply appreciate all the energy you give to the mission of sharing boutique gear with others. Well, that's it for now, Knobs. Look forward to tuning in to the next episode, which is this one. Thanks again for all that you do and for being the champions of boutique gear. Keep rocking, Brett. I mean,
That's cool. That says it all.
It absolutely does. I swear. I got this, and I took it. I took this message around to my kids. I showed my kids. I showed my wife, because the guy wrote this big long email just to tell us what was up and to thank us and to share with what he's doing. I never expected any of this kind of stuff to happen, and I'm just moved and thrilled every time that we hear something like this. It absolutely, I don't know how else to say it. It stokes our fire, if nothing else. So thank you, Brett, for those kind sentiments. And please go check out Plutone, Plou, right?
Yeah.
Ploutone.
Yes.
All right, get some stuff over there. All right, we're moving on now. We need to find out what's going on. And by the way, thank you, Enrico, for letting us read through that. This is a fellow person just like yourself.
Absolutely. And fret me not, you said, right? On
That's
Instagram?
correct. Yes. Okay. Nought. All right. Okay. We're going to find out what's going on in our music world this week. We're going to start off with the beloved Tanya Bolonsky.
That's all I am this week.
That's it.
Well, so I found some interesting news about 4 or 5 days ago.
Your story has become tiresome.
Next.
Go ahead.
So most of the major guitar mags, online mostly, have started reporting that they believe that John Lennon's first Vox amp, which was an AC-15 twin, AC-15 with two 12-inch speakers, was found.
12-inch speakers back then?
Yeah.
I would have thought they would be like 10s.
No.
For whatever reason, I think those are the old ones are 10s.
No.
I'm mistaken.
AC-30s had 12-inch speakers.
Okay.
So it's basically a lower-powered. You get the picture.
Yeah, I get it.
You get the picture.
Yeah.
And the story is pretty remarkable because someone had posted, I forget which auction site it was, a 1962 Vox AC-15 twin, and they had a minimum of 1,000 pounds. So obviously they had no idea what it potentially was. So the guy that eventually bought it, and I'm sure he was not alone, had requested some additional photographs, one of which was the back plate that has the model number and serial number. And clearly, I saw a picture of it. It's 4583, which was John Lennon's Vox AC-15 serial number.
Wow.
Now, in subsequent years, the thing, because it originally was fawn colored or the kind of a lighter color, right. Someone had spray painted it black.
What?
Yes. The speakers were changed out to greenbacks. So the guy felt fairly comfortable. He said, I wasn't going to spend more than 15,000 pounds on it. And it went, yeah. And it hit 15,000. He said, I'm not going to spend more than 16,000 pounds on it. And he bought it for 16,000 pounds, really kind of on a hope and a prayer.
That's like $20,000.
It's about closer to $21,000 now, yeah. So plus with, all of the
that's not bad for just a guess, by the way.
You're so smart. Did I ever tell you that before? There's a very good chance that it is. I mean, somebody would have to go to a lot of trouble to try to make a fake version of that amp. And the fact that they only had 1,000-pound reserve on it means that they just said, oh, I've got this old 60s Vox AC-15 twin.
Wow.
That needs.
So other
some work.
people knew what was going on.
So yeah, obviously, if it bounced around.
So this was an eBay thing?
No, I don't think it was on eBay. I think it was a British auction site. There's a very good chance because there were only 30 of them made.
Oh, wow.
In 1962.
Okay.
People that have seen this amp looked at the componentry, the electronics inside. Most of them are dating to 1962. So it's legit. And the fact that it was spray painted black and everything else.
Man, that's a lot of money. Goodness.
Well,
sakes.
I would be afraid of it, but to spend that kind of money on something like that. But if it pans out, I mean, it could be, I don't know, $250,000 amplifier, maybe more.
You think so?
I mean, there's other celebrity-owned amps. I mean, this was John Lennon's first Vox. It's in all, a lot of pictures of them in the studio in the early 60s.
Yeah.
So I just think it's pretty
Not
cool.
black, though.
No, but they stripped it.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. I mean, they got the paint off of it. And it looks much like it did before. And they got rid of the greenbacks that somebody had put in. And he found a pair of vintage correct Goodman speakers, which would have been in there. Elnico speakers. And
that's something.
I mean, people that have played through it said it's like a time machine. It's like going back to 1962.
Wow.
And it sounds great. So,
well, all right.
So
a 212 AC-15.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder how that sounds.
If you would have listened to our Vox 101, you would have heard about
I don't remember that part. That was a slog of. That was 2 shows. Give me a break. Oh dear, Enrico, what do you have going on in your music world there?
Well, I just say that 250,000 for that amp sounds actually kind of low, Tony.
Do you think?
I mean, if Mark Knopfler can sell his guitar collection for, what was it, 11, 12 million?
Yeah.
I would imagine something like that, like John Lennon's first amp.
Huh.
Maybe.
I'd think like $500,000.
$500,000? Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, there would be somebody that would probably pay it just to say, I've got John Lennon's first Vox.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
But it's just kind of cool. I mean, I love hearing stories like that. Paul McCartney's bass just got found after all of these. His original Hofner bass got found after all these years, and I mean that was crazy money for that.
Sure.
But and I'm sure that these players. Well, John probably wouldn't care right now, but if he were alive, he'd probably say, "I think I'd like to have a go with that one more time."
Yeah.
But we'll see. Yeah.
Very cool. All right.
Good stuff.
So, yeah.
My music week. Right now, I'm just working on bass parts. As much as I love I like guitar as my main instrument, I probably have the most fun playing bass. So I'm, I do a lot of recording. So I'm prepping for my new release, trying to come up with some cool bass parts, hopefully. And that's pretty much it. That's what I've been concentrating on recently, the last couple of days.
What kind of bass?
It's a Ibanez BTB. It's a 5-string. I forgot the model numbers. Those Ibanez.
Yes.
Model numbers can go. Let me see, 1835. So it's a 5-string.
Right.
But very, very cool bass. It's my only bass, but it's definitely probably the most fun instrument that I get to play.
I love playing the bass. You're right. It is super fun. It's just there's something, especially if you do play guitar a lot. It's a nice jaunt down to the you make a left at the main road and you're playing bass.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, the other thing I do is I do play in a cover band that's run through this really cool local music academy that I go to. And it's sort of like the way I get to play live every month, a couple months. And it's a way for me also to start learning sort of all these songs that I've always wanted to learn. So right now I'm working on learning Tightrope by Stevie Ray Vaughan, which is very, very hard. But I'm giving it my best shot. So that even that in itself, it's fun, but it takes time. So
let's see. For me,
What about you, Todd?
yes, indeed. I did spend a bit of time resetting several of my settings in my HX Stomp because we got a bunch of new stuff that we're doing, and I went to the board and I started putting some regular modulation pedals and stuff, and then I realized I'm like, man, oh man, I don't have enough power chords for this stuff, so went back to the Stomp. I had it off for a little while, and so spent some time resetting that. And if you're trying to do it on the fly on the board, it's not ideal. It just isn't. It's just it's a very small screen. If you have to make adjustments or you mess something up, then yeah. But being able to plug in and just go with it was very, very, very helpful. So
wait, why do you have to reset it?
Oh, I didn't have to necessarily reset it. I just decided to clear out my old saved ones and just redo them all clean in a clean fashion now, and rename them so that they made sense for the songs and stuff like that. Because I kind of use it as each saved setting is for a different song. So I can, pull in, a couple different kinds of tremolos for different things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah. And then as I was doing that, I also was going, okay, so that the HX1 came out a while ago. What's that all about? And because I remember kind of dipping into it and pish-poshing it because I'm like, well, I got a Stomp. Why do I need that? And my biggest gripe about the Stomp is it takes two plugs from a power source, because
Why is that?
Because it requires like 900 milliamps instead of like 500. I think that's the situation. So out of your power supply, you have to give two plugs, and then it goes into a converter. So that sucks, because you're like, well, now I'm down two pedals to have this one. But the HX1 only it goes normal single plug kind of thing, but it's only one effect at a time. And I thought,
okay,
well, I'm not really using lots of different effects on each song. If I need one or two, it's kind of like that's the thing. So I'm thinking about that. I'm just, thinking about it in the back of my head. Because the Stomp is so powerful and it's got everything in it. Everything. But I don't need everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I just need a handful of timing and modulation effects that I need to access. I don't need to access the amps. I don't need to access the drives. I like my analog drives. So it's a consideration. Takes up considerably less amount of space, blah, 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 blah. So
there you go.
Yeah. More research later. It's just, that costs money, and that's not something that I have the liberty of
You don't have
spending on. I'd have to sell
tree
some
in your
stuff.
backyard?
I'd have to, I gotta have to move some stuff. Gotta move a few things. Yeah. Enrico, maybe you know a few people in Jersey who can help me with that.
Maybe. How do you play when you play live? Then do you bring your own amp typically, or?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What do you play through?
I play through I almost said a Fender.
How about a Marshall?
Yeah, I play through a Marshall Origin 50. So
okay.
it's 50 watt head.
Which is kind of a Fender.
Hey, you.
I'm not.
Take it easy.
There's not a bad thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a typical Marshall.
It isn't. It's not a typical. It's a little bit different, but I do like it, and I also like it because that's what I have.
Yeah.
And that's out of the twin 12 slant cab that kind of goes with that. So it's worked out really well for me. And I run all the drive pedals that I have, and so there you go. Bow.
Sweet.
Yeah. All right. The best thing, Tony,
Yes, Todd.
when I am trying to figure out all this stuff on the boards, I'm so glad that I have a big box full of Tour Gear Designs patch cables.
Tour Gear Design
I don't
patch
have to
cables.
worry. How am I going to hook the what?
Tour Gear Design patch cables.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever heard of that before.
It's new, isn't it? But honestly, I'm just like, I'm so happy that I have those because I have something that will fit any configuration that I can imagine. And also other pedal boards. If I need to build those out, I'm like, yep, I still have them left over. I probably need to get some more, actually.
You can never have enough.
You can never have enough.
You need all the sizes.
And if you need to go get all those sizes and all of those different links, you're going to go to tourgeardesigns.com and you're going to load up that cart. And in the coupon section, Tony, what are you going to put?
You put the guitar knobs, all lowercase, all one word.
And you're going to save how much?
15%.
15%. There is 0% reasons not to go get these, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So just go do that.
Do it.
Make yourself happy. Save a bit of money.
Yeah.
And have a fantastic pedal board experience.
You're gonna love it.
All right. Thank you to Tour Gear Designs for sponsoring our 4 on the Floor. Tony.
Let me get a little bit of this.
1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor. All right. Enrico, Fernando. What is your 4 on the floor?
My 4 on the floor let me take a look at my pedal board here. All geared up with Tour Gear Designs, patch cables, of course. My first one would have to be the Fairfield circuitry. What do you call this? Shallow water. So this is one of those pedals I'm not a big fan of manuals, so I don't know exactly what every knob does, but I know exactly the sound I get out of it, which is this really excellent warble. From what I understand, the modulation is randomly generated, and but it's got this really cool, almost like tape-like warble. It's sort of on the edge of subtle.
Yeah.
But I have the mix. I typically use it with the mix all the way up, and pairing it with really distorted tones, especially if you play metal, it gives it this really unique sort of like vibrato almost. But yeah, that's my first one.
I love the aesthetic of their pedals. They're just super cool. I've actually reached out to try to get Fairfield on the show, and it has not worked out up to this point. But I'm going to try again. Doggone it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you should. I mean, I think they're out of Montreal. The design's super beautiful. It's very metal.
Lo-fi.
Yeah, but the sound is
stamped
definitely
and stuff.
yeah. But I'm looking forward. That's a great company. They got a lot of cool pedals that I'd love to get into. But the Fairfield circuitry, pretty much I try not to almost overuse it because I love the effects so much.
Uh-huh.
And it's not obnoxious. That's the other thing. So it's kind of it's on the edge of subtle, but it's there. You definitely hear it. It's like this. It gives a really cool warble. That's how they describe it.
Nice. Nice. Number 2.
My number 2. This one I got last year. It's the Maris LVX. So this one is almost like cheating in a way because it's obviously so powerful and there's so much you could do with it. But I've always been a big fan of the Maris pedals, but I've owned a couple pedals from them that I always thought sounded great. But my main complaint about Maris pedals was the usability.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the whole like the knobs are like have like sub functions. You press function and then you turn the knob and you don't know what the setting was. So that was my main complaint about all these like previous Maris pedals, except this one. So this one is actually relative to a Maris pedal is really super friendly to use. I mean, yeah, it has a lot of menus, but it's actually once you sort of get the way to use it, it's pretty intuitive. And
When they offer two different ways in, of sort of like a typical linear style, and then this like cloud kind of thing.
yeah, and the modulation on it, the modulation capabilities. So I'm like, I own a couple synths as well, so this has it. Similar to the typical capabilities you get with modulations on a synth. So there's like a lot you can do with this. But even their presets that they have on here, they are really super awesome. Obviously, you can get delay and reverb, but they have a really cool preamp. I guess they call it a preamp section where you could sort of modify the signal a little bit with like either a drive type or a preamp type, so on and so forth.
Right.
But the main thing is it sounds super pristine.
They are really remarkable machines. I mean, when we had them on the show and we're going through their two latest releases, including this one, I mean, it was just to do the the research on it. It was like, wow, so impressive. And
I like the bubble menu.
yeah, it's
the
really,
bubble menu.
It's very cool. There's virtually nothing that thing can't do when it comes to delay.
Can it make you play better?
It'll make you sound better. Maybe not make you play better, but I guarantee it'll make you sound better.
Yeah. And it's just it's wonderfully built, and like the price is up there, but I mean I listened to that episode and just the research and sort of the R&D and all of that, like anyone who's familiar with sort of technology and just infrastructure and the types of things that just go into running a company and getting it manufactured and all the QR, the quality control, yada yada. And it's like, it's really is a bargain because this is like I don't know, like 5 or 6 pedals in one,
At least.
That's true.
At least.
And for the price, it's really quite reasonable if you ask me. So I mean the processor, I forgot what the sort of the A&D processor, that chip that they have in here, but it's like it's audiophile grade.
Oh yeah,
and it sounds like it.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys changed the game big time for the gear industry. Starting off with the Strymon stuff. I mean, it's sometimes you have to remember these guys also came up with Strymon. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's quite a pedigree. What do you got for number 3?
My number 3 is the BSRI Ashmaker. You guys have had Baltimore something Research Institute.
Yep.
I think, and it was, I remember that specifically because when I started listening to you guys, it was around 2020. I remember that was one of the first episodes I'd listened to.
Oh, nice.
And the Ashmaker is primarily a distortion pedal for bass. So I mentioned before, I love playing bass, and basically all my bass tracks have gone through this since 2020.
Your fries are done, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. That's my Verizon thing telling me my battery's running out.
Oh, no.
It's got to keep doing that for every 15 minutes. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But the Ashmaker is really cool. Actually, I think I got this like 21, 22. But it's a distortion pedal. It's got two different drive types. But what I love about this pedal is on a track, like if you solo the track, like you could put like loads of distortion on it, And if you solo the track, you can clearly hear it's like super distorted, but in the mix, it sounds really clear.
Really?
Like it doesn't sound like, which is really odd, right? And I don't know how it does that trick because it's like, yeah, you have a very distorted bass track. Typically, like you'll notice it's super distorted, but in the mix, it doesn't sound that distorted. It just sticks out. So it does this really cool trick, I think, and that's why I've kept it all these years. But BSRI Ashmaker, definitely check it out for our bass players. But
yeah.
hopefully he still makes it. I haven't checked his site in quite a while.
He still makes it.
Yeah, awesome. It's a great pedal. My number 4 would be this one's a little bit of a utility pedal, but since I'm a recordist, it's indispensable. It's my it's a very long name. It's ISP Decimator 2 G string. So it's a noise reduction pedal. So the reason I put this on is because I use it all the time. It's especially if you play high gain, I think you kind of need it. And it doesn't even have to be high gain. Like, if I'm playing like P90s or single coils with hums, it's just a really, really helpful thing to have for recording, especially if like, it's like you're recording like, I don't know, like a 3-minute song and you're not playing the whole time. There's noise, post-production, you got to go back and, cut out the hum, like in the blank parts and all that. This takes care of that. So I don't have to worry about that. So it's one of the ways I stay efficient. But if you're definitely a high gain person or play a lot of metal, there's really nothing better in terms of noise suppression.
Yeah, that's kind of like, is that the only thing ISP does? Because I think that's all I've ever seen from them.
I think that's the only thing they have.
Yeah.
I think they have like a less like another like lesser model, like I think with less inputs or something like that. But yeah.
Well, like Ron Popeil famously said of Ronco, pick something and do it really well.
Yeah.
There is something to be said for that. Like the pocket fisherman.
Or make 500 things and do them poorly. Oh, dear. All right. Oh, the old fella's got to laugh out of that. Okay.
Chuckle.
Yes.
They're
not quite a laugh, just a chuckle. Anyways, thank you for that. Thank you for running us through that. It's always cool, especially when you had 4 totally. Well, no. What? Huh? What are you doing? What?
Speak into the microphone.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I got off track. I was stretching. You had 4 that were new. Well, actually 3 that were new to the 4 on the floor because we're already familiar with the Maris. But that's always cool. And that's the first time those have been on the show. So, neato.
Love it.
All right, let's find out what makes Enrico tick and all the backstory to your guitar, I guess, journey in life, man. Well, I guess let's start out right now with like you mentioned recording a lot.
Yeah.
So you're doing this in-house, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so you got like your own personal studio set up and stuff?
Yes.
So I got to ask you, when we did our home recording episode, were you like nodding along with some of that, or were you like, oh, I wish I could tell them this?
Yeah, I was definitely nodding along. If there's one thing sort of maybe I would have emphasized, kind of like workflow. That's a thing, right? So
yes,
for a lot of us, like hobbyist recorders or whatever, like at home recording. One thing that I found out in my journey through the the recording sort of journey that I came to is like it's all about workflow. Like just set everything up so that you pick up your guitar, plug it in, and get started. Like just try to keep all the technical stuff to a minimum. So it's literally I can come down to the basement, plug in, turn switches on, and I'm ready.
Yeah.
So that's definitely if I had to advise anyone in terms of setting up a recording setup, if you have a bunch of outboard gear, definitely use a patch board. Have it set up so that the default setting or the default routing of all your stuff is 99% where you want it most of the time. That's definitely it, because you don't want to get bogged down with repatching or doing this stuff when the key part is just to get recording right away.
Yeah.
Especially with we all like work, we all got stuff to do, so I might only get like 30 to 40 minutes, if even that, of recording time each day. That's one of the things I definitely make sure I'm able to do.
That's smart. May I ask what you do during the day?
Okay, I'm an analyst. I work for a very large insurance company. I'm not gonna say who, but
Sure.
but yeah, I'm a finance guy, mostly on the investment side. So it's a demanding job, but it's not too crazy. That I actually do get some time, especially in the evenings, to kind of do this, play guitar, record, and whatnot. So
Wow. That's super cool. I'm glad that you didn't say I'm an importer exporter. So, okay, I'm also curious. You mentioned nose reduction and a couple other things. When you record, tell us a little bit about your setup. Are you miking an amp? Are you going direct? How do you operate?
okay, so right now, after years and years of trying stuff out, I pretty much settled on recording direct, but through the Universal Audio aux.
Yeah.
So I do use real amps. I have two amps here that I use mostly. I have a rev generator. I think it's called the G50. It's their 50-watt head, and pretty much I go through the aux, and that's it. I go direct. So it's obviously it's with the family at home. You can't really crank up a 50-watt with cabs and whatnot. But the aux is, it's a great product. I have to say. Because I've tried them all. I've tried a Kemper. I tried what do you call it? That British company. It starts with a V. Victory. I've done the HX Stomp. I have an FM3, which is the fractal one. So I went through all of that, but I settled on just using the aux through an app. So
Yeah.
but it's definitely, I think, the best of both worlds, because you still kind of get a really cool head like an amp, but going through the excellent speaker emulations they have on the aux. My only complaint on the aux is it I don't think it's ever been updated since I think maybe it has had one update in the 4 or 5 years it's been out. But
Really? Yeah.
but you know what? It's like, if it's not broken, why fix it, right? It's
Right.
it's still a pretty cool product, and I've had it for a couple of years now, and that's where I've settled into.
Yeah, that's excellent. So, and are you saying you're doing bass mostly out of that? Or you're doing guitar and bass.
I do the guitar mostly through the aux. With bass, I just record direct through a preamp.
Okay.
Right. Through the BSRI, the Ash Maker, into a preamp. I have a couple of preamps. Like I have a very clean Millennia preamp, which is really cool for going direct with bass, and that's what I use.
Nice. Are you doing? Let's talk about. Are you going into what is your DAW? And sorry, if anybody's listening and I just lost you, like your DAW, that's just, what program on your computer are you using?
Logic.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah, Logic's pretty
Universal.
It's the only one I know. So
Yeah.
but it's it works. But yeah, so that, in terms of my music life, that's basically it. I spend most of my time, my free time basically recording. I do have a music project. Like, I've been recording since maybe like 2013 was when I sort of got into recording. And let me tell you, like, the recording gear versus guitar gear. I mean, recording, like, that diving into that hole of gear. I mean, it's guitar is great, but there's like the universe of recording gear, from compressors to preamps, mics, and all that. It's just it's such
it's
a big
whole
world.
other thing.
Yeah, but like the I've had a couple of recording projects is what I usually do. Sometimes I work with friends and I do tracks for them or whatnot. But right now, my main project for the past couple of years has been Herath. It's Herath. It's sort of like how I release my music nowadays, and and that's what I've been releasing a lot. It's also an audio visual project, really.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. I was hoping you were going to bring that up. It's kind of like if you want to do a listen to a graphic novel.
Exactly. So,
good. I'm glad I got that one right.
Yeah, so it's like I'm really into animation as well. Growing up, I was very into drawing. So about 6-7 years ago, I started to very, very slowly learn how to animate. And a lot of the stuff that you see on my page, it's all hand drawn, animated, and well, the animation is not hand drawn, but it's like I use an animation software called Toon Boom, and it's all 2D. And that's sort of a big part of what I want to put out there. It's both the audio, obviously, which I spend a lot of time on, but equally as important is the visual element.
When I first saw that, two things came to my mind. One, from an influence standpoint, was Kubo, the animation, the movie called Kubo, Kubo.
Yep.
If whoever out there has not checked it out, highly recommend it. And it just there's a odd, purposeful, aesthetically purposeful, like, stiffness to it.
Yeah.
And also the animation from the when the Deathly Hallows are being explained in the Harry Potter movies. When they switch over into the animated story, as soon as I saw your stuff, I was like, those are the first two things. Like they came together, and I really appreciated it. I thought it was great. I love the tiger, and the fact that you were like, I'm doing this music, and I believe he must be doing the animation too, or else he's got like his kid or his brother, or his mother, or something like that. Is doing it. And I also really appreciated that, because it is so hard to put visuals to your own music. I mean, and I'm coming from 25 years in the creative industry, and it is the hardest thing. But for me, by far, I'm just way too critical and to be able to do that. So I really do appreciate your effort there.
Yeah, I mean, especially animation work. It's very it's definitely time consuming. But I mentioned workflow before, and it's almost the same thing, right? Like you kind of got to set yourself up. As you learn the tools, you get a lot more efficient, and you figure out ways of, okay, like how I draw my art, right? How to color it in Photoshop or whatever. Like, you figure out ways to kind of get to the same quality, result, but in less time.
Right.
Right.
The nurse should be in a second, by the way.
Yes. Call from the hospital. But yeah, so the visual element is definitely a big part of sort of the project I do, and and the reason I actually got into like, I said, finally, just let me learn how to animate was because one of my previous recording projects, I had really wanted to, you mentioned how hard it is to get visuals, but like 7 or 8 years ago, and before I started learning animation, I had tried to, like call a couple of animators and like ask for, I got this music. Can you make a music video? Can you animate it? I can give you drawings, stuff like that. And let me just say, the prices for doing animation work, I mean, it's super expensive. I mean, you're talking
even if
like,
you do like Fiverr or something, they're like, oh,
Exactly.
there's $10, and somehow it becomes $1,500.
Yeah.
Like, really? You're like, what? How'd that happen?
Yeah,
Fiverr,
it's like-
my butt.
I mean, you're talking like at that time it was like $2,000-3,000 per minute. Or, that those
Wow.
were kind of like the quotes I was getting. So at that point, I was like, I already do the art. I already do the drawing. So let me just learn how to animate. And it took a few years, like 2 or 3 years slowly. But if there's anything I have, I'm pretty patient and I value consistency. So like I'm patient. I'm a patient learner, let's just say. So eventually, I was able to get it to a level where I thought it was, this is good enough. I can actually start attaching this to the music, and that's what you see on my Instagram page currently. So
Yeah. So how did you actually, by the way, if anybody thinks right now, thinks that they're actually talking with Bruno Kirby, they're not. Enrico just sounds an awful lot like Bruno Kirby. The minute when we first started, I was like, that's the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, anyways,
that's awesome.
yeah.
I'll take that as a
That's also
compliment.
how he would say that too. This is getting weirder by the minute. Anyways, so what? How'd you get the bug? How'd you get the guitar bug, man?
Oh, the guitar bug. I come from a very musical family. 6 kids, big family, but every single one of us plays an instrument and or sings. My father was a guitar player. My mom was a singer. Nothing professional. We were none of us are professional musicians, but I'm Filipino. So it's just music as in general is a big part of Filipino culture. Not so much like like popular music,
Yeah.
but like in parties, like somebody brings out an acoustic guitar and starts singing to songbooks and whatnot, and everybody sings along. That sort of thing. I think that's pretty common across many cultures, but especially my
Especially
family.
your culture. I mean, that's a very family-oriented culture.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like my brother taught me how to play guitar with an acoustic. Like I think I was 9 or 10. So I'm in my mid 40s right now. So that was a long time ago. But I guess like in terms of like the moment probably was like when in the 90s when Nirvana came out. So I still remember the first time I heard Smells Like Teen Spirit. I think I heard like a 15 second snippet on TV, and after that I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So
That happened to a lot was
Oh,
yeah,
that was
absolutely.
big. That was big. So what was your first, we'll call it a proper guitar?
Okay, actually, I'm holding it right now because I've kept it all these years. It was I don't even know what model this is.
the Ibanez RG.
No. No, it's an Epiphone.
Okay.
This one's a weird one. Now that I look at it, I haven't looked at this in years, but my mom bought this for me for my 16th birthday. God bless her. She took me to I think it was a Robbie's Music City, and I think it's in Wayne on Route 46 up here in Jersey. And she bought me one.
Near Fountains of Wayne.
Yes, exactly. No, I'm serious. Yeah, it is.
Is it really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a couple miles down from that. But it's I remember when I got it, she brought me to the music store and she got it was one of those like sets where like you get like a small amp.
Yeah.
And the package. I don't know what model this is, but if I can describe it to you, it's white. It's double cut. It looks like a Strat. It's got 3 single coils. It says Epiphone on the headstock.
Does it have a banana? A hockey stick headstock?
Yes, it's got the Explorer headstock.
Okay.
That's cool,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it says Gibson on the truss rod cover.
Oh yeah. Yep. Okay. I actually ran
Yeah.
across one of those at our local music go round thingy not too
Nice.
long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I could say that definitely guitars. I mean, it all started from here. I would say, back when I got this guitar, I was just recently immigrated to the U.S. Actually, I came here when I was 15, and as you can imagine, like a 15-year-old moving in the middle of those years into a new country and no friends, like very moody, and I think that's why my mom bought me the guitar. But it's through this guitar actually that I started to make friends and eventually started a band here in the U.S. And those guys, those 4 guys, those three, 4 guys, we're still the best of friends. Like 30
That's
years
great,
later,
man.
and yeah, man. I mean, this is just I've had guitar all my life, so this is it.
That's cool. Well, we found out that is an S310.
An S310. Interesting.
Yes, S-310.
Yep.
Yeah.
Their take on a Strat.
Oh yeah, that's right. S-310 WH on the behind the neck here.
There you go. White.
Made in Korea. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those are. I mean, there are a lot of people that cut their teeth on guitars like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially those packages, because that's was like, whoa, no, we got the guitar, we need an amp.
That goes for good money now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I should fix it up. I mean, it's not even strung up, but I have kept it for sentimental reasons, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Random question. When you came over, do you speak Tagalog? It's Tagalog, right?
Yeah, that's I don't speak Tagalog that well anymore because we spoke from where I came from. It was a different dialect. It was called Ilocano. That's what we spoke mostly at home. But yeah. So
Interesting.
I mean, like Filipinos, like typical, like a lot of Filipinos, like the parents were nurses. My mom was a nurse up here in Jersey.
That's a thing, isn't it?
Yes, that's a thing.
Why is that a thing?
Why is that a thing? It's because no one in the United States says, I'm going to be a nurse when I grow up. That's why.
Yeah.
So
specifically for elderly people too. I feel like that a lot of times that happens. My own personal grandmother was scared by in a house that was run by Filipino nurses.
Yeah, it's just there was I think it started in the 70s, 80s. There was a market for the U.S. had a large need for nurses, and the combination of the educational system in the Philippines, they had, good enough education and whatnot that people were able to sort of like source nursing from there. But yeah, I mean, to that point, it's like there's there's not a lot of people that go into the nursing sort of career organically in the U.S. So
yeah, I guess part of me likened it to, I know in specifically like in Japanese and like Mexican cultures, like the older people in your family, like you take really, really good care of them, like really good care of them.
I think that's
super important.
That's a cultural thing.
Yeah, and so I part of my, I guess maybe it was a false assumption, but I kind of assumed like that's like, well, why wouldn't we do that? Almost to a degree. And I may be way off base, but I just wondered. So,
Yeah.
anyways.
I mean,
On
look,
this week's nursing podcast.
I'm sorry. Hey, we're talking about life here,
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned the thing about like Filipinos are very family oriented, but in a sense, like every culture really is family oriented.
Yeah.
Like that's like every culture is just this. Like I think for a lot of like sort of in other countries, like the whole idea of like putting your parents in a nursing home,
Right.
that one's a little that to someone who's like Filipino, that will always definitely feel odd, or Chinese even.
Yeah.
Right. Like when your parents get older, they're living with you. They're
Exactly.
they're going to live in your house. That's sort of kind of expected.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I'm glad we cleared that up. Thank you for,
Indulging.
indulging my humoring me. Yes. I've thought about that often. So it was just kind of weird that had a natural outlet for that question. So thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, back to the guitar stuff. Sorry, everybody.
Yes.
Now, so you got that was your first like sort of real guitar, right? But when did you pay for what? Like, tell us about that.
Okay, probably the first guitar I paid for was in college. Was one of those Jackson Dinkies.
Oh yeah, that was
Another
popular,
yeah.
Yeah, that's another popular one. And I remember I got a Fender Deluxe, and that amp, like I don't have it anymore, unfortunately, but I sold it off a number of years ago. But I used that amp for like, I don't know, 15 years straight up, like just doing gigs with it, taking it to all kinds of grungy places around North Jersey, and it survived the whole time. And like there was a period maybe from like I'd owned that amp, let's say from like 98 to like 2010. And then I'd taken a long break from music for like, I don't know, like just doing guitar music anyway for about 5-6 years. And I remember in 2018, I was like trying to clean my basement. I still had the amp and I plugged it in and it still worked. And yeah, those things are workhorses for sure. But yeah.
I've always wondered why they called him the Dinky. I never knew that.
Smaller body.
Is that
it? Yeah, okay.
7/8 body.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's why Tony's on the show.
What else you want to know?
That's the only reason.
That's the reason.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
true,
and the
but-
Dinky's great because like, and they still sell them, right? They still sell
Yeah.
Dinkies.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about the neck. The necks in those are super playable, especially for, back then I was playing a lot of like more like, I guess like metalish Soundgarden type stuff.
Yeah.
And the neck on that was superb.
Well,
And
the neck's got to be good if you can basically say, you know what, I don't need to make guitars. I'm just going to go make necks for everybody and make a bajillion dollars doing that. That's cool. So you got into you're into heavier stuff, metal and all kinds of stuff. Was there a particular group that transcended beyond the initial Nirvana thing that you said, okay, wait, here's my real thing I'm gonna lock into?
Yeah, I guess like I mentioned it before, like Soundgarden basically. It's probably the biggest influence on me. It's like I had two bands that really sort of influenced my guitar playing. It was Pantera and Soundgarden.
Mm-hmm.
If for nothing else, it was because when I first got my Epiphone, the first few tabs I learned from guitar magazines were Pantera and Soundgarden songs, and at that age, what you learn then sort of just kind of embeds with you forever. So
Yeah.
And Kim Thayil's just his how do you say it? His the way he does like his harmonies, like his sense of harmony.
Yeah.
Like when you listen to his solos, it's very unique and really kind of cool, and something I've always tried to emulate.
He was
ever
a
since.
huge influence on me. The whole, I guess I locked into a lot of guys that were doing sort of drone, open string playing, and him and Zoom and like he does a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's definitely one of my heroes in terms of guitar. I mean, like in terms of other bands, like I guess the Nine Inch Nails is probably another one, because the music I do is mostly like metal, industrial. So that definitely, like, if you're into industrial music, it's kind of hard to not be influenced by Trent. So
Yeah, for sure.
Good
I got
stuff.
to see Nine Inch Nails. Nine Inch Nails opened up for did Tool open up for Nine Inch Nails or vice versa? Nine Inch Nails opened up for Tool. I'm pretty sure in L.A. and at the Olympic, the Olympic arena. That's where they did a lot of boxing and stuff. So it was like sort of terraces, like it was basically just rows of mezzanines, almost like an old baseball stadium kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this guy jumped from like the one above us, and thinking like the guys are gonna catch me down there, and dude broke his leg. Like at the show. I mean, there's, so medics were all in there. They kept playing. It was kind of neat.
Yeah. Well,
kind of neat.
sometimes antics
Not
get
for
you in
him,
trouble.
but he's like, wow, that guy's really taking this pretty seriously.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I got to see Nine Inch Nails and Soundgarden. Was that 6-7 years ago when they came over Jersey? That, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm glad I got to see Soundgarden. Definitely. I mean, obviously with Mr. Cornell no longer with us.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to hear? Here's another quick little sad Soundgarden story. So, they had just come out with Bad Motorfinger, and we went to L.A. to Hollywood area to do the meet and greet. Like the first 100 people there. So we were there at like 4:30 in the morning. There was actually like 5 people before us. Like, hey. So we sat on a curb for hours, and then we got in and we got to walk through the line. And I got my hat signed. I got a CD signed by the full band.
Wow.
And then next to them was Pearl Jam, because Pearl Jam was opening for them, and I just walked right past them. And I don't have any. It doesn't do anything for me. Anyways.
Yeah.
And the cool thing was the first like 20 people or whatever got wristbands to go backstage for a meet and greet.
Oh, wow.
So I got a wristband. I mean, I had learned how to play guitar to with a CD player, pause, play, pause, play, pause, play to Soundgarden. And so I was just thrilled to death. And my friend was with me. And this was at the height where where Chris Cornell was wearing like the long cut off shorts that had been duct taped. Like the entire thing was all duct taped, and like 18-hole docks and the whole 9 yards. And the show was over, and we're like, all right, let's go. And he looked at my hand, and I looked, and the wristband was gone.
Oh my God.
Oh,
We had
no.
been down in the pit area, and it was gone. And he still had his, and I was like, dude, you gotta go. You gotta go for the both of us. And he wouldn't go. Man, that says something. That says,
Why wouldn't he go?
because he didn't want to leave me hanging.
Uh,
That's what friends do, Tony.
Yeah, I would have left you in a heartbeat.
I know. Yeah,
Sucks to be you.
yeah. Keep the curb warm for me. Yeah. Anyway, so that was my missed opportunity. But we had already met them anyway, so
Wow,
it was like,
yeah.
it still
Yeah.
would have been cool though.
No.
That's awesome.
So what is? Let me ask you, if you had the opportunity, you got a carte blanche, you're going to go get a brand new guitar, and Tony's paying for it. What kind of guitar is that?
I would get a wide sky guitar.
A
So,
wide sky guitar.
yes,
All right,
wide
man, we
sky.
got to look this up. Wide
Oh yes,
sky.
you got to interview him when you get a chance.
Okay.
Patch. His name is Patch. I forgot his last name, but he's he's
yeah.
here
Those
from he's in Hawaii right now. I think he was in Arizona for a little bit. I think it was in Arizona, but I actually I just a couple months ago I had received my my P125 cutaway from him, which I waited 30 months for.
Wow.
To get.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful guitar.
it is. The guitars are really special. But it was a lot. It was worth it. And I'm glad I ordered it back then because of, inflation. Like the pricing you see right now is definitely reflects what the economics the last couple of years. But he's but they're totally worth it. The weight. That's what I would get. I would get.
It's a beautiful guitar, man. That's for sure. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
Are these? So it's, yeah. I was thinking, is this? I was going to ask if it was slide. It almost looks like it's like a sort of a slide based guitar, but it's not.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's just it's like semi hollow. At least the version I got.
Yeah.
And it's pretty light, and it plays beautifully. It's got I got Curtis Novak P90s at a humbucker on it. So something basic, but it's I from listening to your show, guys. Thank you very much. It's I got introduced into the boutique guitar makers. I mean, like some of the guitars I own, like a couple of Novo guitars. I found that out through your show. I think it was the William Bennett show.
Oh yeah,
where he had mentioned his number one guitar. I was like, okay, let me check that out.
Yeah.
And,
we actually went down to Novo. If you haven't heard that one,
oh really?
Yeah,
cool.
With we had it with Matthew, who was at the time heading up operations there. Man, so that's a very special guitar. So you already have one of those.
Yes, I would get another one.
You would get another one. Okay.
I would get his other models, but they're obviously very pricey, and the wait is long. So, but someday.
Yeah, but that's what you gotta. That's a keepsake for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and if you had the chance to get an amp to go with that, what would that be?
The amp I have actually, because the generator, the rev generator, it's I don't know how familiar you guys are with the revs, but the distortion on them is I know it's just the best distortion I've ever heard coming out of an amp. I typically do not use drive pedals. I might use a boost here and there, like a Timmy. Yeah. But generally, I rely mostly on amp distortion, and the rev is it's got this really, I don't know how to describe the distortion. It's kind of very syrupy. Huh. It's like it's not fizzy. It's not a fizzy distortion, but at the same time, it's still very, very clear, right? So, I would definitely, if anything, maybe I'd get a bigger watt one.
Syrupy and clear, so kind of like Rumpelmans or something.
Yeah, I guess.
or pick your schnapps.
Yeah, I know. It's always like kind of like the cliche like describing like guitar tone.
I get you.
But I mean it's like it's definitely a metal amp. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But it's very different than, let's say, like kind of like a Marshall style or what's that German company? The like it's
the Daimel.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a lot of those, like a lot of the Marshall style amps, like are very like the highs are very piercing, but not in a bad way. But like they kind of have that cut to them. The revs have a little bit more, I guess, like kind of like a low midish thing going, and that's where it sounds a little warmer,
right?
Which I like.
I was thinking Diesel, not Daimel.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Daimel.
Diesel, yes.
Daimel makes amazing guitars.
Yes.
In Germany, but Diesel makes the amps. Yeah, that's those amps have like 100 knobs on them.
Yeah,
it's crazy. If you like knobs, get a Diesel. Anyways, Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you talking to us about all of your guitar stuff, which I know that you're deeply passionate about, and I love that you had some great backstories with those, and introducing us to a few new pieces of gear, too.
Absolutely.
Super duper.
I mean, that's all. I mean, that's all you guys do. Your show hasn't been kind to my pockets, or your thousands of other listeners. But it's I just want to again say thank you to you guys for just putting on a show, and I cannot begin to appreciate the week to week consistency you guys get together and do this and create your content, and and that's why I became a Patreon, right?
Yeah.
A lot of, I think I mentioned this in my prior email, to you. It's just that there's a lot of quote unquote free content out there, and Todd, you play for the Valentinos. You're out there. You put your music out and whatnot, and there's just there's a lot of free content, and I feel like there's not fair compensation. Let's just say, right, for a lot of art nowadays, especially in music. So
yeah, for sure.
And I think it's like for the fans, if you're a fan of a band or a supporter, I think it's super important to monetarily support your bands, because it's not like a lot of these bands get to really make a decent living out of this. They don't. I mean, I know a lot of bands. I obviously played in a band for a decade and a half, and I'm very familiar with the economics of it, and but a lot of people just do it because they love it. But the least we could do is buy a shirt, buy some merch.
Yep.
If you listen to a podcast that you really love and they have a Patreon, definitely become a patron. Even if it's a couple dollars a month, it all helps, right? So
it does. You could not ask for a better endorsement. I really appreciate that, and I know that's coming from a deep place down in the old guitar heart there. So I truly appreciate that. All right, time for some other fun. We're going to hear from Tony right now. Tony, say something. That's meaningful. Go ahead.
Something meaningful. Yes, Todd, because at this part of the show, it's a little game we play called Would You Rather?
That's a big wet fart. Come on, dig in.
Would you rather?
I knew you had it in you. You're holding out on us, Tony. All right,
there
go
you
ahead.
go.
This week's Would You Rather is brought to us by our good friend and patron, Bruce Bacon.
Yes, Brucey with the good stuff.
Yes, he always comes through. And this is a nice, quick, and easy one.
All right.
No characters.
Okay.
I don't have to do any impersonations this week. So you have the opportunity to apprentice 3 days to get a basic understanding of a skill. Okay.
All right.
Would you rather spend time with an amp tech learning on how to bias an amp, or with a luthier learning how to level, crown, and polish frets?
It seems like if you're going to spend 3 days, I need a little bit more knowledge than that. But
well, this is just the
you're going to get an that you're going to be able to do that one thing really, really well.
Really, really well.
Okay.
And the amp guy will probably say, well, here's the tubes that you're supposed to use.
Yeah,
you plug that
some
in,
fringe stuff.
And here's they got those fancy little machines that have the graphs on them.
Yeah.
Beep, 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 beep,
Yeah.
beep, 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 beep. They do Morse code.
Yes.
Things like that.
Okay. I get you.
So I guess the would you rather is, would you rather learn more about amplifiers?
Yes.
Or would you rather learn to make guitars more playable?
Yes.
Would you rather make amps sound better or guitars play better?
There you go. Perfect. That's a very good question, actually.
Yes.
Tony?
Well, I think I can do a pretty decent job of getting frets in a reasonable playable condition. However, to me, that is probably more important than biasing an amp. And so I think I'm going to go back for 3 days and hone my leveling, crowning, and polishing skills on the frets.
Sounds good.
That's
Sounds
what I'm
good.
doing.
Okay. Let's see. Enrico, how about yourself?
Definitely the fret work. If for nothing else, just because I'm super paranoid about getting electrocuted. So,
It only hurts for a little while.
Just one of my when I was growing up, I did one of those stupid things that kids do, is like stick a fork in a socket.
Dude,
and,
you and me both.
Yeah. So that just gave me like a paranoia about anything getting to anything too close to electrical. So I definitely would not just not touch the amp at all. But the learning fret work, I mean, yeah, for sure, definitely. I mean, like that Epiphone I was just talking about, my first guitar. I'm just touching the frets. I mean, they're flat as hell. And they got like divots from strings. So just learning that kind of work would be pretty cool.
You got to just fill it in with some Elmer's glue. And
it doesn't work that
and
way.
Then just sand it.
It doesn't work that way. No.
Oh,
No.
I got it all wrong.
No, you do.
Well, okay, so my answer is scientifically based.
Okay.
My knee-jerk reaction was at first to learn more about amps, because it's one of those things that I don't know enough about that I would like to know more. Mm-hmm. And end goal would be then I could go over and hang out with my friend Rob and help him out. Rob Chafe. Then my senses kicked in and said, there's no way Rob would ever let me do anything in his pristine shop. And that's fair play. He's got it all sorted out, and Rob's that kind of guy, But so then I said, okay, if I'm going to do this and do it well, then I could definitely hang out on a weekend with my good friend Chase.
Ah, yes.
Which I do all the time, but this time he would actually let me help him out. So I'm going to learn more about dressing taking care of all the frets and everything.
That's good.
Yeah. He lets me tinker around in there, and I'll go in and work on my own stuff, and we'll talk and stuff. But it would be fun to just go, hey, I'll come down and knock about the shop and help you out a little bit.
I like that.
Yeah,
You're a helpful guy.
I like spending time with my friends.
Yeah, there you go. How come
Which
you
is
never
why-
spend any time with me?
You painted me into a corner on that one. Anyways, all right. Well,
Thanks, Bruce.
that was a great one. Thank you so much, Brucey. Always coming in with the good would you rathers. If you have a would you rather, we would love to hear from you. Please, please, please send it our way, okay? All right. We need to thank a few people.
Ah, yes. At this point of the show, Todd, there's a special group of people we love to thank. These are our executive producers. Now, an executive producer makes this show possible. How do you become one? Head over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs. Check out a couple of different levels in which you can participate and become a friend, a hero, a sponsor, a friend of the podcast. Each level comes with some very nice thank you gifts and opportunities to win some really great prize giveaways. Oh my goodness, there's stuff. I couldn't even close the prize locker door today. There's so much stuff in there to give away. But in addition to all that great stuff, all of it is yours. There's one thing more. What would that be?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to these executive producers: John Sebastian, Trevor Ellenberg, Cameron Pampas, James Bell, Eric Hemmer, Brett Hogarth, Gregory Randall, Don Kloss, Ralph Gottschalk from Wonderful Audio Technology. What? Rusty Sneeden, Vader and Pedals, John Helverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Richard Kendall, James Pennington, James White, Justin Jones, John Esterly from Rare Buzz Effects, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Darren Gregory, Tom Barazin, Michael Davenport, Eric Merrow. Oh, and we have a new executive producer.
Aside from Eric Merrow, who, just recently joined us.
That's right. This is Plutone. Plutone. We talked a little bit about them before.
That's correct. Go check them out.
See what you can put in your shopping cart.
Go get
there.
something awesome.
Yes. Tell them we sent you.
Yeah. Excellent. Truly.
Todd, there's more.
Okay.
Because we have a special group of executive producers. We call them our Grand Poohbahs. These are the creme de la creme, the top of the heap, the A number ones.
The Kings of the Hill?
That's right. The Kings of the Hill. So special thanks to these Grand Poohbahs: Anthony Gemalero, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Bob Crouch, Brian Robison, Cody Foster, David Kaminga, David Tyndall, Fox Hill Studio, Hex Matos, Jack Cadian, James Pennington, John Williams, Jonathan Jerusik from 12th Hour Devices, LSJ Music Company, Matt Hart, Michael Van Zant, Michio Murakishi, Moon Guitars, Paul Von Eppinger, Sam Jett, Steve Keys, Tyler Rhines, Zach Oswald from Brandon Wound Pickups, Pedro Vasquez, and I think there might be one more on the list. Enrico Fernando.
That's right.
Hey there.
Thank
Indeed.
you. We thank you in person.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard several instances of us sharing the sentiments and hearing it from the said horse's mouth today. And we really appreciate all of your help and support in keeping our show going. Just, can't thank you enough. So if you're inclined, please join us. And, we got a lot more stuff to do and give away, and we're excited about those things. But it's not all about that. It's about, being connected and stuff.
Be part of the community.
Yeah. All right. And Enrico, where can people find you in the things that you're doing?
I guess the best way is through my Instagram page. It's Herath_music. And that's basically where I release and put up most of my art and whatnot. So definitely check it out.
Cool. Excellent.
But
Thank you. Yeah.
But I just want to say it's a great honor to be invited, and thank you so much for everything you do, and you're welcome. Also in terms of you thank me for the support, and I'm a very proud supporter of your show, and I hope you guys get to keep doing this for as long as possible. I mean, again, I'm still amazed at all these podcasts. There's not very many, as you know, I saw podcasts come and go, but to be almost close to your 400th episode, I mean that's amazing, guys, and definitely keep going, please.
I appreciate that.
We're doing it.
And I'm going to drop something else on you real quick. So I just learned we just reached 850,000 downloads, which are only a fraction of the actual thing, but it's one of the main ones that they count. It's really sketchy how they count all the listeners and everything. But that made me just think. I'm like, all right, so we got to get to 1 million.
1 million.
That's what we got to do.
Let's do it.
Listeners.
All right. 1 million listeners. Yeah. Anyways, Tanya, what about you?
Just head over to pickguardian.com. Check out some of the things that I do. But what do? I make custom pick guards for you. Do you have any questions? Shoot me an email. Let me know what you're trying to do, what you need, what pickups you're using, what material you're interested in. It's your opportunity to make your guitars more yours.
Even more yours.
Even more yours. You got to
still
script
hold up
this
cue
out
cards?
for me. Do you have a few? Yes.
What are you, hanging out with Jared? All right. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram at Guitar Knobs. You can also shoot me an email, but, the DMs work pretty well. It's nice and easy. We would love to hear from you. Tell us what's going on in your guitar world, and, introduce yourself and do whatever else. Also, make sure when you're driving around, pop in the old Valentinos for some good old-fashioned rock and roll driving music.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Enrico Fernando, for
Yes.
joining us. We had a great time talking with you. I'm so glad that we got to hang out and share some time and get to know you better, and we're so glad that you were out there doing your thing.
Thank you so much for the invite. Thank you
bet.
guys.
You bet. Hey, everybody else out there, have a fantastic Guitar Week and subscribe.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Ciao.
New Jersey?
That's right, New Jersey.
Man, we get a lot of people.
You got
from
a
New
problem with
Jersey.
that?
There's a lot of New Jersey people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in that area of the country.
New Jersey and Philly. I mean, dude, I swear half of our supporters are from those two states. I'm gonna step over and shut the door.
J'adore, is that French? Oh, I love it when you speak French. J'adore.
Your stories all the time.
Me thinks Bruce doesn't make it back there much anymore. I don't know.
You don't think he's got like a big giant house in the hills up there? Do they have hills
Yeah,
in New Jersey?
he-
Well, you obviously know how the show goes.
yes.
And
It's all downhill
you
from
have
here.
Yeah.
This is the best
He
part.
ain't lying.
Like air quality alerts and heat alerts, so just staying indoors most of the time.
Yeah. Dude, now does the weather guy come on and go, we think it's in your best interest you stays indoors. You know?
Essentially, yes. But,
Maybe you
it's-
shouldn't go outside if you know
We
what I'm
would hate
saying.
for an accident to happen.
We would hate for something bad to happen to you.
How do you go?
Because it's Bluetooth.
Wow, that's cool.
I got it on lock. Let me hit that pad.
Yeah, I mean, if you see any footage from the last tour, if he's playing a purple Rickenbacker 12 string,
If you can see it with all the scarves and everything.
the scarves do tend to cover a large swath of
Like
area.
Stevie Nicks up there, man.
Oh yeah, boy, wouldn't that be? That would be an interesting Stevie Nicks and Little Steven.
Yeah.
They should start a
Scarves
band.
galore.
Yeah.
and Steven Tyler.
What is it with them?
Scarves R Us tour.
Oh, man. Yes. Well, see, now we got to go down to use kids and stuff.
I'm not. That was the first words out of my wife's mouth. So I suppose you're going to be buying all this vinyl now.
Talk about food, guys, because
I
I
love
love food. Let's talk about food if you
Yeah.
want.
I mean,
Oh man,
Have you seen Tony?
How are the pies there?
He's got some in his neck right now.
in
By the way, my daughter, I need to go on record. This is her thing. She said, Dad, somebody in LA needs to have a restaurant, an Asian restaurant called Walking in LA. And she goes, you make sure everybody knows I came up with that. So there you go, Jane. I love you.
I'm sure there is one.
there has to be.
There might be, but what if there isn't? Now somebody's going to make $1 million.
Yes.
$1 million. Caffeinating. What are you doing right now?
Coffee.
There you go. I love
Yep.
coffee. Oh,
How do you
man.
take your coffee?
Right in the mouth. That's the infamous clap. Not the one that Tony caught 3 years ago, but
I do have a Dio song on my list for eventually to learn. So
Yes.
Holy Diver,
yeah,
obviously. So
yeah, set to ska.
why not?
Maybe.
No,
it
you're
has-
ruining it.
Has to be a walk.
Back it up. Beep.
They don't
beep,
have to use
beep.
a wall.
I think.
Back
What
up
if
the
it was?
joke truck.
What was it? What was it? What if it was a hibachi grill?
No. And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.